Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So, as you have already heard, I'm both a student of Quran and archaeology, and as a Muslim, and particularly as an Ahmadi Muslim, the Holy Quran serves as our guiding light, illuminating all aspects of our life and all walks of life. And again, looking at the topic which is I was instructed to talk about, and I would rephrase it for a better understanding, that bridging history through Quran and archaeology. Although the primary focus of the Holy Quran is a guidance for the righteous, Hudal lil Muttaqeen, historical events narrated in the Holy Quran are meant to provide direction and support for those who are virtuous in the discharge of their duties. And the Holy Quran addresses, in this regard, some objections raised by the disbelievers in the time of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, who, when they were admonished about the punishments which were given to the ancient nations when they rejected the prophets of Allah the Almighty, they called it Asatirul Awwaleen, fables of the ancients. And again, in response to these accusations, Allah the Almighty has clearly stated, and again, on at least 12 occasions in the Holy Quran, you can find that Allah the Almighty stated that if you are in doubt about the fate of the ancient nations who are characterized as wrongdoers, disbelievers, idolaters, and deniers, then travel in the world, siru, and unzuru, and see kaifa kana akibatul lazina min qabl, how evil was the end of those who came before you. So again, moreover, in all these instances, I wish I had my presentation with me to show you, in all these instances, these in 12 ayat mentioned in the Holy Quran mentioned that why they were punished, because they were mukazzibeen, those who treated the prophets as liars. They were mujrimeen, sinful individuals. They were mushrikeen because they were idolaters. And again, it also mentioned that kanu anfusahum yaslimun, that those who wronged their own souls. And they were kafirin, disbelievers. And the Holy Quran also mentions that why should we go around in the world and see what happened to these old nations? Because the Holy Quran mentions that the destruction of one people and the subsequent emergence of another people in their place, this is another topic which we should study. So in the field of archaeology, and again, sorry for going off on the topic, that in the field of archaeology, it is very important that the excavations or whatever we are digging for should be goal-oriented. And the Quran clearly gives us a goal, that we learn from the mistakes of those past ancient nations who came under the punishment of Allah Ta'ala. And again, if we take guidance from these verses of the Holy Quran, so there is a clear research goal which is given here. Then Allah the Almighty, after having a research goal, says, Siru fil arz, and for this purpose in archaeology, the next steps after having a research goal is doing survey. And this survey can be done in different forms. For instance, in today's world, ground-penetrating radars, LiDAR technology is being used for doing these surveys along with the old-fashioned ground survey, where you just walk on a field and point out the artifacts or other archaeological features which you come along. And especially as my undergrad honors thesis, I was able to do LiDAR survey analysis of about 10 square kilometers. And it was, if you take a satellite photo, if you look at the satellite photos, it's just like a forest. But when you analyze the LiDAR data, I was able to find about around 2,000 archaeological features, structures, and which shows that all these archaeological sites which were hidden, and they became, we were able to see them through LiDAR technology. And the next step is to evaluate or do ground excavation. And in the Holy Quran, after saying siru, it says fanzuru, which involves actively excavating the remnants of ancient nation. And in this regard, the Quran urges us to particularly investigate akiba, the destructive ends of these nations. And in archaeological terminology, these are referred to destruction layers, and which are crucial as they preserved the very movement in the time that allow us to gain significant insights into that culture and nation. And earthquake, and these destruction layers are caused by earthquakes, natural disasters, warfare, and one of the best examples of this phenomenon is the destruction and the subsequent discovery of the ancient Roman city of Pompeii, where you have a snapshot of what their life was. And another interesting phenomenon again, which can be, which we see is in Surah Adiyat. It says, "Afalam, afala ya'lamu iza busira ma fil kubur," that when those in the graves are raised. And while mentioning this ayat, Hazrat Khalimsi Rabi rahimahullah ta'ala indicate that in later times, graves will be uncovered, and this is the prophecy from the Holy Quran, and revealing valuable insights about the ancient nations. And this phenomenon is well known in the field of archaeology, as tombs often provide some of the best sources of archaeological information and give us intact artifacts to help us understand past cultures and give us a relative chronology. A prime example of this discovery in this regard is the discovery of the Egyptian pharaoh Tut. And although he ruled for just 10 years and he became a king when he was 9 and died at 19, he became a very important pharaoh, and we all hear about him because his tomb was found intact, and making him one of the most famous pharaohs in the world, because all the artifacts which were found in his tomb, we were able to analyze them. We were able to find out what the culture and life was at that time. So I think so I'm well above time, so I would just end my this presentation with a quotation of the promised Messiah alayhi salam. He stated in the Khutbah Ilhamiyah, the Holy Quran is so glorious that none other can excel in its glory. It is Hakam, the one whose judgment is ultimate. It is Muhaimin, the compendium of all guidance. Therein is found every argument which one may require. It is the book which has scattered in defeat the very core of the enemy's might, a book which covers everything in depth and contains the news of what was and what is to be. Khutbah Ilhamiyah, page 103. Jazakallah.